And hello, everybody. Good morning, almost afternoon. How you doing? My name is James Connor. This is Lions Den, and today we're talking about stair steps to marriage. And let's go. Once again, hello, everybody. This is the Lions Den, and today we're doing the stair steps to marriage from a male perspective. And today we have three guests. We have two Pastor Andres and an Alonzo. So therefore, I would like to bring those gentlemen in. You can introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Good morning, everybody. I am Andre Wilson, and I'm grateful to be here this morning.
Okay, yeah. Um, Good morning. I am Andre Taylor, and as well, I'm grateful to be here this morning with you all.
I'm Alonzo Chapman, unclergied, and also happy to be with you as well.
All right, so we got three clergymen and just me. All righty, good to go. All righty, so today's subject today is the stair steps to marriage, and I always tell people that that you have to go into a certain perspective when it comes to marriage. People just tend to think that you're going to just that it's just gonna just happen, or like, oh, I'm gonna walk down the street and I'm gonna meet this person. But that is one of the most important stair steps to marriage is actually that you meet. So the thing about it is just because you meet them, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go the way that it needs to go. But these things take time and it takes effort. So I want to go with Pastor Wilson first. Give me your perspective on the first step as far as the meeting, as far as getting into going into the next step, as far as the stair step to marriage.
Yes, sir. Again, good morning to my brothers here. Man, you're taking me back.
That's what
As
I want to hear. That experience. That's what I want to hear.
it's this August will be 19 years for me, and
Yay!
I think that one of the things that at this stage in my life of maturity, I think that any man that is pursuing marriage shouldn't get caught up on the exterior. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Even though men, we're visual creatures, so to deny that we're visual will be lying to ourselves. I think, again, not to get caught up on the exterior. Aside from curves that can derail a train, aside from a smile that'll melt your heart, aside from all of the perpetuity of a femininity that just make your heart want to leap out your chest. Can she help you build? Can she be a compliment and not a competitor? Can she maintain a conversation and stay on topic? I think these are many things that a lot of fellas sometimes bypass the importance of because again,
Hmm.
we're so awestruck of man, this she fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm
This
glad
is
she
true.
fine. But again, I think, to build, I think conversation, communication is important. And like I
Very
said,
much so.
determining can she hold an adequate conversation? Because I think within that conversation and that communication piece, it'll determine whether you are talking to someone who, in the long term, can help you build what you're trying to accomplish in life,
Mhm.
which she's trying to assist to help you to nurture and mold. So, I think communication is oftentimes the major part for me that I would
Yes.
recommend anybody at this stage.
Yep. Pastor Andre.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, I agree. I would really pick up what you just said. I myself have been married for now 21 and a half years.
Awesome.
Uh, got
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. We got married young. We were young kids in college, and one thing I would say, like you said, that's a long ways back when you stop and think about it, you know. But when you say communication, finding
Mm,
someone who one that you can talk with and also listen to how she speaks to you. Um, as a
mm-hmm,
matter of respect, sometimes we feel like, well, I'm going to marry a person and they're just going to become somebody different later. Like the person that you're dating is the person that you're going to marry. And what happens
facts.
is, how does she speak to you? How does she speak about maybe her own father or other men in her life? When you mention men, is there always something negative? Is it always, y'all don't ever, or just those the blanket statements? And so, even though those are signs of past hurt, and we all come with some type of hurt into any relationship, but it is important to see, how she speaks to you when you talk. Does she respect you? Even if she doesn't agree with maybe something you have, can she hear you?
Mm-hmm,
Can you be open? Can you share in front of her? um, Sometimes we get with people, like you said, is and we're into what they look like, but you're not yourself in front of them. If you can't be yourself, at some point yourself is going to come out. And then where sometimes you see a lot of marriages struggle is because they get married and a couple years later they realize it's a totally different person. Like, and I didn't really sign up to marry you. That person that you were portraying is not really you. So early on,
mm-hmm,
definitely being able to someone that you could talk with, respect, that can respect you. And then sometimes I don't believe like the extremes of some people say, well, opposite is attract. Like, find somebody opposite of you. I'm like, not always, but
Right.
then you don't have to be the exact same person. I think a healthy difference. It's okay to have a different background, or sometimes there's a different perspective based off my wife and I, we were raised differently. So our viewpoint is often different. However, we do have core principles that are the same, where
mm-hmm.
our faith, we believe in God, and just God being the center of our life. That was something, even in our college years where we wasn't quite living them exactly out, but there was a basis of that where even though we saw things differently, there was something that grounded us that was similar. So I would say definitely understanding that you don't have to be the same, but you want someone that has just foundational things that you live by. Your faith is a strong thing. Sometimes just, I mean, you give people space to mature and grow, but you gotta have some kind of like core similarities. Just you just don't want somebody just out there that's just like just totally different lifestyle. Sometimes you come from different spaces, but I would say just that core root similar. I think that's a good healthy start.
Good to go. Good to go. Mr. Alonzo, you want to go?
Um, if we're going to talk about a good starting place, from this meeting stage, I honestly feel like we would just have to take just a half a moment that we would have to talk with, being honest with ourselves in the early stages of meeting.
Mhm.
I know I can't speak for every man. I'm going to speak for myself. My approach is different depending on what my goal is. If I'm
Very true.
coming and I don't know how. I'm if I'm on my savage time and I'm out here just being me, then I am not coming from a realistic place. I'm coming from a place where I'm projecting an idea. But if I'm truly coming to meet someone, to know someone, and to love someone, I have to first start to adjust me to understand that if I'm going into this situation, that this is a a dual situation, if you would, because in the same way, like you gentlemen was saying, we have to look at how she speaks to us, how she interacts with men in her life, how she's carrying herself, what's her core beliefs. But then we also have to address what are my core beliefs? What do I actually believe?
Yeah.
Because there's a
Mm-hmm.
difference in what we say we believe and what we
Hmm.
And then
actually
we
believe.
actually
Some
do.
things we
Yeah.
say because it sounds good. Some things we
Mm-hmm.
say because mama said it or granddad said it, but we don't believe that. If I give you an example, my whole life in church, women just had to wear hats. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of to me. It don't make a stitch of sense. Like, the whole basis of the rule is lost for me because it's modesty. So if we was going Muslims or nuns and we was covering, but this doily ain't doing nothing. She done got all this hair up on top of her head with a safety pin and the doily on the back. Like it never made sense. But it was like growing up, that was one of the things I said because it was a regurgitation. But and
Yep,
that's a comical thing, but that happens with bigger things. So
Yeah.
we got to
definitely
understand
does.
who we are if we're going to make that real connection. Because if we're out there just projecting the player and we're out there, just putting on that person that we are not,
The
then she's going
pizzazz.
to meet somebody and then we're starting off on uneven ground. She's going to be disappointed. You're going to
Yep.
be disappointed. So we don't give ourselves the tools that we need to be successful before the conversations even develop well. So I think a big part of that is really knowing who you are and knowing you're ready to take that step. I know a lot of Christian groups and places, they have dating and then they have courtship. And when you move into a state of courtship,
Yep.
then
Yep.
you shift your mindset with the okay, now I'm looking to build and develop something. If I'm dating, we're hanging out, you're cute, I kind of like you, you kind of like me. And maybe that leads to courtship. But when you move into courtship, then you are dealing with much more honesty with yourself and with that person, understanding what their needs are and can I provide those needs? Because we all have a list of needs and we all can't provide them for each other. That's why we have those pairs out there. You got to find that
Hmm.
one that meets your needs.
Hmm.
So I would really want to just say a pivotal step early on is really being honest with ourselves and our intentions when we begin the process of knowing someone.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And now let me piggyback on that because you know what? It's the thing that I set up here and I like, like I said, you meet, and then what it is that you actually establish friendship because let's just be honest, you're going to go into things, you're going to do things with each other, you're going to get to know each other intimately. So you're establishing that friendship communication. And the thing about it is that you can't go directly from meet to engaged. And you know what I'm saying? Like you say, people they have the representatives. Some representative last 30 days, some representative last a year. And the thing about it is that it's just not sustainable. The real you is actually going to come out at some point in time. And you know what? And people actually do project um these alter egos of sorts that, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. And then it's like that person just disappears. They get the Thanos snap, they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. You're like, wait a minute, hold up. How did the person just flip the switch like this?
Mhm.
So, so always that meeting and then establishing friendship communication.
Yeah.
And then I feel like after the friendship communication, because you talk to each other, you text each other, you're checking on each other. How's your day going? Everything like that. So then like Alonzo said, then comes the courtship. Now, a lot of brothers tend to falter in this stage because they really don't understand that, they do, you know what? I think if everybody could, they'll do like some type of online relationship. Like, okay, it's going to be manufactured online here. I'm going to do this, 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 and it's
Mhm.
all just going to fall into place. I'm like, nah, these things actually take work. So even in the courtship stages, so now, like I said, you've established friendship, communication. Now you're going into courtship. So now, even in this whole courtship stage, now you're deciding, okay, you know what I'm saying? Now the rubber is really meeting the road. Okay, now, you know what I'm saying? So you're starting to possibly meet friends. You're going to places that, you know what I'm saying, that you know what I'm saying? You're going to places to where you're seen in public, everything like that. Now, in this courtship stage, people will still hold on to that representative a little bit. And when they hold on to that representative a little bit, it's like, all right, man, like, look, you got to let this go. This person is here. And, not everybody is transparent. Let's just be honest. Not everybody is transparent. They will kind of hold up those walls a little bit
Mhm.
to, all right, let me see where you going to go. Let me see where you going to go. And, just the genuine nature of communicating and actually just being forthcoming. Wow, that's really a lot. I'm glad I got married when I did because I I can't do it. I'm looking like this is what dating is. This is what y'all. Oh wow, I'm like wow, I'm too old for this. So I genuinely married my friend.
Mhm.
And so, and I really think that people look up and it's like 5 or 10 years, they're just comfortable with a person. They're comfortable with a person. They'll sit up there and they'll, you know what I'm saying? It's like the communication leaves, or even if it was really there.
Mhm.
So then, like I said, you go into your friendship. All right. So, Mr. Alonzo, in your friendship stages, what are some of the key things that you would like to do as far as like, okay, or what are some key things you're doing to say, hey, you know what? I'm generally showing interest here.
Um, and French, and when we're moving into a friendship stage, first, for me, well, let me preface this. I'm going into 8 years this year in June, and I married my quite literal best friend. From college when we got told everyone we were getting engaged, it was kind of like a duh for like everyone. No one was like, "Oh, that's a surprise." Everyone was like, "We were
It's
waiting
like
on you
yeah,
guys."
like we know.
But but when you're in your friendship stage, like there becomes, well, first a level of loyalty that you first develop within your friendship circles, and then we might not want to say it, but within our circles, we have circles within circles and inner circles, and
Yep.
levels change. So I know for
Hmm.
me personally, in the friendship stage, like there was, especially towards the end of college and after college, there was a hierarchy, and my wife was just in the upper echelons of my trust hierarchy. So
Hmm.
with her being in those upper echelons, then it becomes, and I think this is the hardest part for a lot of people, um confidence and being vulnerable, because there becomes a reveal stage that has to start to develop when you truly develop real friendship. Like real
Hmm.
friendship moves past, like I'll use myself for example. In college, I was Fonzie. Like I was big Fonzie. Everybody knew me on campus. I went to a small school, so everybody knew me. So it was an idea out there of who I was. But like as we move deeper into friendships, then it's just there's the time I don't feel like entertaining 35 people at a party. There are times I don't feel like drinking or dancing. I dance. I run a dance team, and guess what? I hate dancing at parties. Um, you feel what I'm saying? But that's one of those things that it's like you learn when you're being comfortable with those levels of vulnerability and you have that confidence in that person, and you kind of have to build it in yourself to be okay in yourself. Like I'm vulnerable here and I gotta be okay with that. And then when you reveal that, you have to be okay with, you know what,
Hmm.
everybody not gonna get this, but those who are supposed to get it will. And that goes into the development in the higher levels, because if you reveal it to someone and you got these vulnerabilities and they don't take it the right way, then you can be like, okay, they are either not that person or they are not that person right now.
Mhm.
Because as we say, like life continues to grow. So who's there to say in 5 years, in 2 years, in 3 years, they won't be that person? I can say sophomore year in college, my wife wasn't my soulmate. 2 years after college, she was, but she had grown and she was a different person. And at the same
Hmm.
rate, I had grown. I wasn't wild like I was. So when I was wild, that wasn't something she was going to tolerate. And like
Hmm.
I knew that because we were friends at that level. So
Hmm.
you really have to
Exactly.
know that person, understand what their standards, what their needs are, and be able to be open and vulnerable with them about who you truly are.
Yeah.
Facts.
Mhm.
Pastor Andre. Well, Andre Taylor. There we go. Dre Taylor.
Yeah, like you said with friendship, like I said again, myself in college, my wife, um, developing a friendship, it seems like it seems like it's the least spiritual, the least mature part of it. Yet it's one of the most important parts because just
I
being
know.
friends. My wife and I both at the time we loved basketball. We would go to the gym and play ball. We would work out, and we just it just gives you a moment to let, like you say, let your guards down, because when you're kind of being on your best behavior, it's not always you. Sometimes it's you, but it's the best version of you. Then you
Yep.
start hanging out and doing things like friendship. I taught when we counsel young couples or couples preparing for marriage. like hanging out together, hanging out with each other's friends, you start to see, because I see who you are, but then I can see your friends and I see who you are with your friends. And I'm starting to build a full understanding of really who you are. And that friendship, for us, that's the core of our relationship, because of the friendship that we establish, we remain friends. And friendship is what carries us through difficult times. I mean, we being able to laugh when, hey, resources are tight. It's not a funny moment, but we've been friends for over 20 years. So we can laugh back at a joke. Remember when we had like $2 in our account? We had $2.04
Hmm.
exactly. Remember that? Like we laugh about that. Like that was crazy. Like, and so there are parts of that friendship that we allow to, and it's good because the friendship is genuine. Like you begin to also build things that you like together. As much as we need our personal time together, because you're friends, we realize the type of movies we both like. We have different movie
Hmm.
tastes in general, but there's a certain type of movies we both like. And then we start to like, oh, like you like that? Oh, that's cool. I know you like that. Or you don't like that. It just like, oh, I get that. Like I like this type of movie. My wife will tolerate, she does. She tolerates the newer Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars as a kid. So my wife, she jumped to later ones and she'll watch it with me. So she knows enough, we're friends enough to say, like, oh, I can sit down and watch this with you.
I can
Then she's
tolerate it.
like,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, after 2 episodes, like I'm gonna do something else. And it's cool, but it allows us to, for us, that foundation, man. Like it's unfortunate because I've been around people who I know this just were not friends when they got married, and it's
Hmm.
hard. And you're
Hmm.
trying to, it's like build a building with no mortar. Like you're just brick on brick. It's nothing keeping you guys.
Together.
There's no joy. Most of your friendship produces joy, understanding. Like, hey, your friend, you understand that your friend gets on your nerves at times. You understand that your friend makes you happy, your friend, and all of these emotions and feelings come along with friendship, and it allows your relationship really, to me, to be well-rounded and stable. And so
Facts.
that's a big part for us. Just that friendship. Yeah.
Definitely. Pastor Andre Wilson. Go ahead. Rock with
You know what? I agree with Alonzo and Andre Taylor. Um, One of the things that I was thinking about was would they just reference having a proper foundation. And I agree with Andre Taylor. I know a lot of people who were not friends when they got married. It was more
it.
of
Hmm.
a sexual thing for some. For
Mhm.
others, it was a religious thing.
The Lord said.
Church,
Not the Lord, baby.
Hmm.
the church cohorted them into being married because
Woo.
if you were a
Hey,
young preacher,
you spitting right
it's
there.
not good for you to be a single young preacher.
Hmm.
And that was the stair steps to damage control for a lot of relationships.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I'm grateful for a foundation, an established foundation of friendship because it helped me to determine if connectivity was there.
Yes.
Because some folk, they're friends, but they don't really have a connection.
At
Hmm.
all.
More deeper, intimate relationship aside from want to go to the movies, want to go bowling. Yeah, some folk are good for just doing that. But when it comes to a deeper, more challenging situation in your life, like I'm depressed.
Hmm.
I'm dealing with such and such. Surface level people can't handle intimate issues that will cause you to be vulnerable. And I think the challenge with a lot of brothers with their vulnerability is finding somebody who won't use their vulnerability as bait for something later.
Yeah. Whew.
And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I advocate getting number one, um, are you a friend to yourself? Because if you're not a friend to yourself, I really can't expect you to be a friend to me.
Hmm.
And I think so
Facts.
many relationships run into a hole because you're having people to come into a situation with an expectation that they're not willing to provide.
Yeah.
And so, I'm learning the necessity, even now at this stage, being a friend to yourself.
Hmm.
Because people use that word friend so loose and light.
So, yeah.
I think one of the challenges is we may be good associates, but we may not be
Mm-hmm.
friends yet, because I believe wholeheartedly that friendship is earned. But a lot of times we give ourselves away, and you're my friend and they're my friend. And so, it's one of those notions for me is, one, are you a friend to yourself? Are you coming with a false expectation that,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It runs into a hole. So I couldn't say any more further than what my brother Andre Taylor and my brother Lonzo is saying, because you need a foundation. You don't build from the top up.
Definitely.
You have to build from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people only really connect with you when you're at the top. My wife has been with me through it all.
Yeah.
Now I got a little something. She's there to celebrate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look back, like Andre Taylor was saying, when you were looking at your bank account, it's like, woo, you're on the wing of the prayer.
Exactly.
You had a win.
But this is the same person that was able to go through each level. And now I can look back and say, I'm grateful for our friendship. Before she's my wife, she's my best friend. And I think that's one of the things, and I'm still learning. Quite honestly, I'm still learning how to be the friend to my wife that she needs in her life. Because there's some things I can't relate because I'm not a female. But as it relates to marriage and as it relates from the male perspective, I'll say this, and I don't know, maybe the brothers can agree with this. A lot of females that I've talked to, co-workers, I've heard this reiterated. A lot of their best friends are males. Here's why. There's not a lot of drama. There's not a lot of challenge as it relates to their female counterpart. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I just keep hearing this reiterated. I've even heard my teenage daughter say, male friends are a lot more easy to deal with than their female friends. So, yeah, I think that the foundation established trust. It allows you to be vulnerable. And, yeah, I agree with both of these brothers. It's just necessary to be a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
That's what the song
Exactly. All right, so definitely, so now I'll piggyback on that. Now, like, take for instance, like when Pastor Andrea said that, as far as a movie that you connect with. Me and Dina's movie that we connected with was Big Trouble in Little China. So, look, we had set
You
up
talking
there,
about the
and
Kurt Russell movie back in the
the
day?
Kurt Russell movie, yes, sir.
You gonna make me
So
have
we
to
had
go
set up
watch it.
there. We had set up there, and we had talked, and I had mentioned Big Trouble in Little China, and she gave me this look like, wait a minute, what? You? I'm like, yeah. So then on top of that, she didn't let me know that she do musicals, and I am a musical guy. I love musicals. So so her first one she took me to was A Tribute to Men. And so they went through the different stages of all the men and everything, as far as like making music and everything like that. It was awesome. That was the very first place that she had taken me to. And I was just like, I was there, I was singing all the songs in there. I knew all the songs. So, so, and then, like I say, our friendship really started really taking off. It started really, like I'm talking about, it was just like a mom. I can't even say like a runway, like a jet. It was like a rocket. It was just going straight up. So so the thing about it is that also something that she did was she like Pastor Andre Wilson said, it was the thing as far as the vulnerable place.
Yeah.
I could be vulnerable. I could be what I'm saying? It was like when times where I wasn't being like, what I'm saying, I couldn't be the strength. So I couldn't be the strength, but I needed, what I'm saying, I needed that shoulder to lean on. And she provided me that safe place. Um, so it was just like, it was at that moment that I knew like, I think this was the one. I think this was the one because I never felt safe in all my other places. You know what I'm saying? Like in all the relationships, it was just like,
Mhm.
it was that thing that I realized by year two, this ain't gonna work.
Mhm.
So, it's just like you travel the channels and it's just like Alonzo said, you're kind of hoping that they're going to fill in this role. They're going to go ahead and do this, that, and the other, but you just know they don't have the capabilities of doing it. So it's like, it's best that, the communication wasn't good. The, just the fluidity of the relationship, it being fluid, us understanding each other, us talking, hey, how was your day? Everything like that. It just wasn't there. It was just like we were coexisting.
Mm.
And so go from that to where all of a sudden you meet somebody who's fluid with you and who will sit up there and just as be as goofy with you and everything like that too. I mean, like, look, Marvel movies. That's our link. Superhero movies. You know what I'm saying? John Wick. Look, it's just like I mean, like, look, I can truly say that if like it's just certain parameter. Well, what I'm saying, there's certain things in your relationship where for a fact, like you be thinking like, oh, you meet people and you kind of make your judgment on them. Like I would think Dina would like a cute car when what I'm saying she was West Coast. I was like, nah, Dina would want a Charger with the 392 in it. You know what I'm saying? She wanted the 392 in it with the what I'm saying, with the 20-inch rims on it, the aggressive exhaust profile, the ducktail spoiler, and the windows tinted, and she wants to hear that growl. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just like what I'm saying. So it's just like you get those things established, and you're like, wow, you know what? This person really, really is like, wow, this person's so dope. And I mean, like, I don't know about y'all, but it's like during COVID, I really realized how dope my wife was. So
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? So now,
Mhm.
and that closed this setting to where you now have to go ahead and really, I mean, like, it went higher. And I was just like, wow, are you serious? It was just like, matter of fact, after COVID, you seen people, they were filing for divorce.
Mhm.
It's
Absolutely.
like, I can't take it
Historical.
here no more. Shoot and
Yeah.
shoot. I mean, like, they couldn't because the courthouse was closed.
It was
But,
waiting. It
you know
was
what I'm saying?
backlogged.
Well, they was waiting, boy. It was like double dutch. They was sitting up there, wait for it to open, wait for it to open. But
Yeah.
what's so crazy is that, like I said, what I'm saying? Well, what I'm saying? Like Pastor Wilson has said also, it's like, that whole representation thing they set up there and they didn't build anything. They kind of, they got together whether it was for financial reasons or what I'm saying, hey, you know what, I might as well settle down with somebody. Or, and then, what, that's have to be the worst thing. I just have to settle down with somebody. That is, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. So
Mhm.
now the next step is the establishing the relationship stage. How did y'all establish your relationship with your wife, or how did you know like it was that actual time? I'm gonna let Pastor Andre Taylor go with this one.
How'd I know it was time? Well, you know what? It's like during that period of my life. So it was a big transition for me. And um, like I said, was good friends with my wife. I had went into for me, it was a mixture of a bunch of things. My sister had been sick. She was in the hospital. She was sick shortly before she passed away. So she was sick. She was in the
Mm,
hospital, and my sister was as like my second mom. So just always was there for me, took care of me. And so just going through that season, well, me and my wife we were friends, and shortly after that, essentially she passed away. And during that time, like I was just like in a just dark place. I was wrecked. I was really kind of just
mhm,
I already had issues in my life, but I was using that as a catalyst to just kind of like let things go. And so I remember we were like great friends, and this was the time I made that decision, which we look back and laugh. I was either going to pursue boxing or go in the military. I just needed to get away. And I had a friend who was training, is like, listen, you can come up here to Catskills with me. Um, you just pick up your career, just go here. Or my other friend was like, I'm going into the military. What you think about that? So I'm like, I got to get out of here. So essentially, I went to the military. Um, and during the time we were, like I said, we were really, really good friends. And that time away, I really had an opportunity to just like think and allow really God was working on my heart then. And in that time period, I didn't know it like that. But during that time, part of that friendship, she would just write to me. She would just keep me up to what's going on, and we would talk. And I feel like for us, that distance allowed us to also, it wasn't physical. It wasn't, I had to see you. Just her words. Just if I'm reading letters and I'm just hearing her talk on the phone, we started to develop something that I
Mm-hmm.
realized we didn't need to be in the same space to grow closer. And I think in that period, I realized that like I got to kind of hear her heart without distraction. I got to see who she really was. And that for that period, I think that really started to show me like this is who, you know, she really, really is. And then once I came back, I was home, went back to school, and I think from there, as my life started to change and her life was changing as well, honestly, I could just like, I just really, I got a chance to see her. I think that's what it really was. When we talk that vulnerability, something we always talk about when it, the confine, the scripture on marriage, when it says, for this cause a man leaves his mother and father and the two become one. I said they
Mm-hmm.
become one flesh, and the man, him and his wife are naked and unashamed. And that really, that's the goal for marriage. And that's that vulnerability. And that really started for me there. Just being able to like to share like, hey, the reason I went into the military, where my heart really was. Like I was really broken, and it wasn't, she wasn't trying to solve everything, which was great. She wasn't trying to make me her
Mm-hmm.
pet project. Like I'm gonna fix this man up and make him. She just would hear, she would share, she would pray, she would make me laugh. She would just, and so I was able to be myself. And for me, I think that was probably the only person that I was ever that open with to say
Mm-hmm.
the fears that I had, the things that I like really
Mm.
struggle with, like how hard it was losing my sister, just sharing all of these things. And she kept it sacred. You know what I mean? I could confide in her. And so it really got to a point where I knew it was time because I won't be petty. Like, bro, I'm not letting nobody else have her. You know what I'm saying? I was
Facts.
like,
Facts.
no, like, no, there's
That's
no
right.
way, you know, like
I'm
this,
vested.
I'm invested. You have all my secrets. You know who I am at this point. And I had a colorful background. I'm gonna just leave it like that. I had a colorful background. At this point, she knows who I am. She knows my background. And she's not using it as leverage. She's hearing my
Hmm.
heart. She's not banking, like you say, to come back later. And so I knew in that time, I was like, okay, I knew I had to get myself together. I wasn't prepared, but I knew that I wanted to spend my life with her. If I'm going to be married, this woman has, I've invested, she's invested in me. I've given, so that's when I knew it was definitely time.
Definitely, definitely. Pastor Wilson, how did you know?
Um, well, Andre Taylor started making me reminisce. um, so I have, I guess, if you would leave it to um, my mother-in-law and probably some of the church, her grandmother, my wife's grandmother, which is a church mother at my grandfather's church growing up. So I've known my wife since I was 4 years old. My wife was
Wow.
the
Ooh,
flower girl in my mom's wedding. And
wow, that's dope.
I've had a crush on my wife since I was 4.
Wow.
So the
That is
story
dope.
is told. I don't remember because I was too young, but I guess I was prophesying early. I told her grandmother that she's mine. Now,
Hey,
at 4 years
out
old,
of the mouth
man,
of babes.
just clueless about her. But Andre Taylor really made me reminisce. In high school, the letters. I got a letter every day.
Oh,
Um,
the letters is always
yeah,
dope.
establishing, and it goes back to that point of establishing friendship. Even though I've known her since I was 4, we reconnected in our teenage years, and my wife was in a toxic kind of situationship, and the only thing I desired to do was be a friend. So I was that voice of reason. I was her ear. Nothing more other than that. But it started shifting because, memory serves me correct, 1997, we went to Thanksgiving. She went to my cousin's house for Thanksgiving. And so I guess I had an LL Cool J moment standing on the bus stop. And I'm thinking, I'm like, Andre Taylor, this mine right here.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and, and so from that, meeting her at the subway every day because I got out of school before her, so I would wait for her to get out of school, and just sifting through all of that. And I'm thinking, okay, my grandfather was a pivotal person in me coming to the conclusion, because back in the day, you grew up in an old school church, they're like, that ain't the one.
Mm-hmm.
Leave that one alone. And
Yep.
so having to talk to my grandfather, he was like, yeah, son, she's a good catch. And it just was one of those things. I'm like, okay, I need to make this official. I went away. Speaking of Thanksgiving again, I went away for a Thanksgiving trip, and she wrote me a letter and gave me her class ring with an ultimatum.
Wow.
When you come back to Baltimore, we either gonna make this official,
Or you getting on.
or we just gonna be friends, because we're gonna always
Exactly.
be friends. And so going through all of that, and then just coming out of high school, and it was one of those things of understanding, even though I married young, and I would tell people be very cautious about marrying young, because you don't have all the facts, especially if your only marriage counselor was pray about it. That is not helping me.
No.
So
Oh my God.
marriage counseling for me, from somebody that had been married for over 52 years, was don't go to bed angry. Failed.
Mm-hmm.
Have a lot of sex. Did that. But there was
Touché.
no in-between details that let you know there are going to be some rough patches.
Rough times.
Yeah.
Are you able to overcome rough patches? Because I don't think anybody purposely get married to divorce. And
Facts.
so all of these things, but all in all, for me, recognizing that she was the one was because she was just the one. And, and you
Just
know,
the one.
You gonna be the one.
And I made a great choice, even though there were so many things that has happened within these 19 years that made us fall out of friendship, made us hit for divorce court. But I think the sustainability was getting back. And I don't want to jump ahead because I don't know where you're going. But all in all, just understanding that this woman has had my back since the beginning. And I'm like Andre Taylor. I'm vested. Well, she was vested one. So it was like, I don't work too hard. Let me just stick with what I got.
Definitely.
She's fine. I don't really need to go looking if I got that already in one person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Though, again, marrying young, when I was 22, oblivious.
It's 22 as well. Yep.
Yeah, oblivious. And so it's like, yeah. So I'm going to stop right there. But I'm just, when Andre Taylor or Alonzo say whatever, I'm just going to say what they say.
All right, Lonzo, you up.
Okay, first, 22. Good God, man! If I'd have got married at 22, whoo, I'd be divorced at 23. I was not ready. But how did I know my wife was the one? For me, and sad as it might be, or as unromantic as it might seem, it was very strategic for me. Like, our relationship grew, and it was almost like a video game. Like, it was just like level after level. Like, this part works. This part works. And then it was like just one day we were both just dating somebody else, and we just hated them. Like, we was just sitting there having a conversation about how much our significant other sucked. It was just like, this is just wrong. And then it was like, you work. And it was just kind of one of those things. That's how, we started dating. And then from there, I think really it was just, I think I gotta go along with Pastor Taylor here. It was a little bit of separation. I did about a month and a half where I toured around Jerusalem. And the awkward thing about this trip, there was everybody there. Well, first, I was completely isolated. No other Black people there with me. I was there with a host of older Jewish married couples. And they were, doing their heritage thing, having their experience. But it was like this deep spiritual growth place for me. And I was isolated from all my normal noise. and all my Bible stories was coming to life in front of my eyes. Like it's one thing to read, it's another thing to walk
Going
through.
to see it.
Like
Yep.
those are two different things. Like that hits different. So like I'm in this clear spiritual space and I'm surrounded by these successful marriages because, like, honestly, for me, with the exception of my grandparents, I didn't grow up around a lot of successful marriages. Like, I saw a lot of people get married and I also saw a lot of people get divorced. So
Hmm.
that's calling me jaded. So, in this
Hmm.
clear place, and I'm around these successful marriages and I'm communing with God and I'm okay with myself, and I'm sitting on a boat. I lie to you not in the middle of the Red Sea, and she's the only person I can think about.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Like literally fireworks popping. And at this point in my life, we were dating, but we weren't like super serious at that point. So
Mm.
there were still friends who wanted to pop up and they like to send playful messages. That's the way I'll say it. From time to time. But it's like with all that other noise, it's her I'm thinking about. So it's
Mhm.
like when it all wears down to it, and you
Yeah.
take away all the noise, the answer was very clear from me. So like coming back from Jerusalem was like a shift for us and our relationship because it was just like this is what I want. Like if this ship go down tonight, that's who I'm thinking about. So why am I gonna waste my time with?
That's
Facts.
it.
Absolutely.
Facts. Facts.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know what? Now I can piggyback off all three of y'all. Now, what's so crazy is that see, first marriage, y'all that did not work out. You know what I'm saying? So you guys were pretty much like the Bengals in the '90s, one and done in the playoffs. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, the Bengals my team and everything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, look, you
One
know what I'm
and done.
saying? One and done. Like, look, y'all measure 10 times and cut once. I can appreciate that. I sat up there and measured once and cut 10 times on the first one. Boy, it was a catastrophe. But I got married again when I was older, when I was who I was. And it's the thing that when you two actually are who you are and you're transparent with who you are, it just pretty much makes it simple. So it was the thing that, like, literally, we just sat up there, we talked, we communicated. Um, Not sure, you know what I'm saying? It was just like everything just like really fell into place. Like, even with the proposal, it was so funny because I had I had her literally ride around with her ring for like I want to say maybe like 8 months. She had no idea, you know what? She had no idea the ring was in the car with her. No idea. No idea. I literally had it in there with her. She never knew. And and the thing about it was is that I remember she went to this place and she had got her so she went to try on rings. And what had happened was I had already been there. So she went in and she tried on these rings or whatever. And I get an Instagram message from the jeweler because I had bought her a pair of earrings and she wore the earrings and she was like, "Oh, I recognize those earrings." She was like, "Yeah, my boyfriend bought them here, da 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 da," and everything like that. She's like, "Oh, good to go." Automatically, she went to the. I think your girlfriend just walked in. I recognized the earrings. I was like, "Oh, for real?" So I was like, "Okay, cool, good to go. Let's see what she chooses." So if any of y'all seen the ring on her finger, she chose everything around that, and I had already chosen it. Probably about I want to say 2 months ahead of time before she actually went in.
Wow.
So that was the thing of actually studying the person, actually seeing what they like, actually, for me, it was just like, you know what? I'm studying for this most important test that's going to change my life forever.
Mhm.
So it was that thing that relate, you know what I'm saying? So when I actually went to go get the ring, I knew she was the one. But when I actually, no, 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 matter of fact, because I took her to meet my family first. I took her to meet my family, and when they fell in love with her, my dad got to meet her before he passed, and he fell in love with her. He fell in love with her. My sister fell in love with her. Uh, her and my nephew talk often, and I mean, so when the family fell in love with her, because I don't take nobody home. I'm looking like, look, if anybody know my sister, don't you bring nobody home. You know what I'm saying? Don't you bring nobody home. So you know what I'm saying? So you just can't bring anybody home. So when I actually, it was the time we were spending and I knew, but I needed the confirmation because this is like this is the very important thing that I didn't do for the first one. So this is me measuring 10 times and cutting once, finally. You know what I'm saying? So went there, everybody loved her. And I mean, like, just receptive of her. Her and my sister speak regularly, everything. So it was the thing that when they went back, and I remember my dad said, he said something my mother would say. He said, "Oh my gosh, she reminds me so much of your mother." I said, "That's what I wanted to hear." So, you know what I'm saying? So it was the thing that he was like, "Oh, I'm so glad she's not an alley bat. Nah, this is some old, this is some old type,
Alley bat.
whatever that is, an alley
Alley
bat."
bat.
I was just like,
No bats in the alley.
there's no bats at alleys, but I guess they do hang at alleys sometimes. I have no idea. So,
Sound
so
like
you know what?
Batman.
So, alley Batman. I mean, look. So,
I'm
so you
sorry.
know what I'm saying?
Don't mind me.
So no, no, so you know, so it was the thing that that it literally like it all made sense at that moment. It all made sense at that moment. Even with the alley bat saying, I just sat up there and I shook my head. I go,
No alley bat.
I was just like, he wasn't supposed to say that around here, but
Maybe
okay.
it's Alley Rat. Maybe that's what it was.
No, no, he
Yeah.
said alley bat.
He
No, it
from
was alley bat.
Baltimore.
My
If you're from
mother and grandmother
Baltimore,
used to
it
say
was
it.
an
No,
alley
no,
rat.
it's alley rat. Yes, I'm from the Midwest, so yeah, we got bats. So you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so
We
so
got that.
yeah, we got bats. So you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so the whole transition took place, and I was just like, yo, I was matter of fact, when we first started what's called, her ringtone was Mary J. Blige, uh, "Be Without You." That was her ringtone. So you know what I'm saying. So I was just like, I felt that. I felt that it was just like, yo, like the song says, chemistry was crazy just from the start, and we were actually seeing other people as well. And you know what I'm saying. It was just like they're lame. They're lame. I don't like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You know, it's just like, yeah. So, so it was that thing that the
Sideline.
friendship, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So the friendship was already in place. And then we just transitioned. It just seemed like it was like a seamless and smooth transition. It was almost like, okay, guess what? It was just like it's just like the blinds when you just turn them and all of a sudden they all go up and then they all go down. It was just as seamless, just as that. And it was just like even to this day, it's just like we just sit around each other and we can just bam. We can pick up from a conversation from last week. We can finish each other's sentences, everything like that. And you know what I'm saying? Like I said, being that I'm older and I got married and I am who I am, there was no problem being transparent. Like, look, here, look, now look, I ain't got no representatives. Look, I'm this guy. I'm older. You know what I'm saying? I'm not searching to be who I am. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I appreciate you guys that you guys got married young and y'all actually stayed there. Man, if I'd have stayed there, I'd probably be in jail. So you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, just that, but it was a learning, you know what I'm saying? It was a learning tool for me. It definitely was a thing to where as though I learned and then it was like, bam, okay, now that you learned, you don't do the same thing twice.
Yeah.
All righty. So, Mr. Alonso, how we doing on time?
Well, gentlemen, we have about 7 minutes left for us to wrap up this beautiful discussion that we're having
Yes,
today.
sir. Yes, sir. So, all right. So we're gonna get closing statements from
Alley bat.
everybody.
The alley bat.
Now, your wife in the comments talking about the
Yeah, I
alley
know. I
bat.
seen it. I seen it. I was
That's your
like,
wife.
yeah, that's. I'm gonna stick by her. That's the one I chose. All right. So we're gonna get closing comments from everybody. Mr. Alonso, we're gonna get you to get your closing comments and everything.
Okay. Cool. If we're gonna go for closing comments, first I want to thank all the gentlemen for having me here today, and for making me feel young because I have received no letters
Yeah.
from my wife. I think that was past my time. Uh, we was IMers, which makes me sound old to my
Yeah.
students, but it makes me sound very young next to you gentlemen.
Was that
Um,
Yahoo? Was it Yahoo?
no, we had instant messenger. We was on Google.
Okay,
Wow.
good to go. Well, that okay. Well, then it makes me sound old then because I'd use
The
Yahoo.
AOL.
But
See,
anyway,
Yahoo was high school.
exactly.
Yahoo was high school.
Hey, what the dial up?
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
continue, continue, continue.
But it's just great being here. It's great having this discussion. I sincerely hope that just if someone hears it, that you will just take the time out to truly know your partner, truly know yourself, and just be honest. Be honest. And if you're going to do this, you have to be compatible. You got to be okay with the silence, and you got to be okay with the conversation. You got to be okay with the bills, and you got to be okay in the bedroom. And deficiencies in any of those areas will lead you to failure. So if I can leave you with any of that, just remember, hit all four areas and make sure that you know where you're going first, and you should be successful.
Good to go. Good to go. Pastor
Uh,
Wilson, sir.
wow, that was heavy, Alonzo. I would say this. Nowadays, we see a lot about, especially on social media. We see when you look at another couple, a lot of people will put in the comments marriage goals or couple goals.
Mm,
Sometimes that's just Photoshop. I would encourage
Most times.
everybody that your marriage or couple goals should be the one you create with your significant other or your wife. Because a lot of times what we see nowadays is just because people have been together long doesn't mean it's been effective. Longevity
facts.
doesn't mean effectiveness. Number
Hmm.
two, in the words of Rihanna, I know it's secular, work, 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 work. Marriage is work, 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 work. But at
And
the end
work.
of the day, the work is worth it if you're working
Hmm.
with the right one. And finally, I would say to make sure that your investment, anybody that is about to get married, make sure that the investment is one that you can reap from. A lot of times, if you're the only one that's making deposits and there is no one else, or your wife or your husband is not making a deposit, it's going to be hard to withdraw. And
Hmm.
lastly, never try to connect with somebody with the intent, I want them to make me happy. I get it. I understand
Mm.
when people say, I just want somebody to make me happy, but that's too much power because if they can make you happy, then
They
they
can
can
make you
take your
miserable.
happiness away. I would
Hmm.
suggest aligning yourself with someone who can add to what you already required on your own. And so that's my 2 cents from the marriage experience. I appreciate Andre Taylor and I appreciate Alonzo. It was good to be here with you fellas.
You better
Definitely,
write that
definitely.
down. That's a sermon right there. Don't forget it. Write that down. Don't miss your sermon. You're gonna need
Now
that
that,
one.
that,
That's
that,
right.
that come
No, that's
from
right.
pain and ups
Yeah.
and downs and learning the right way.
Definitely. Pastor Taylor. Got you.
Yes, sir. Listen, and again, thank you, brothers, for this. And I would love, man, part two of this. We pick up part two and get the next steps
Yes,
uh
sir.
Yes, sir.
for this. Really, you guys laid it out. I was just going back to marriage. Marriage is something, like you said, is built. You said it's work. It's work. You build a marriage. Marriage doesn't come pre-made. Oftentimes people are trying to find a what you call those prefab marriages. Like marriages aren't
Hmm.
prefab. You can't just show up and have it. And arguably, it's not even an IKEA marriage. Like you want to like
Right.
have it pre-cut and put it together. Like you really got to go out and you start like I got to cut the wood. Like I got to build each piece,
Hmm.
each little
Yep.
thing that goes together over time. And so when it's that way, that means it's unique because
Facts.
prefab IKEA, you got the same dresser I got. You know,
Hmm.
it's so that foundation has to be strong. You're building upon a foundation. One, like you Alonzo said, you got to know who you are. It's based in you and where you're going, realistic with yourself. Sometimes we can be having a conversation about married and you're just not ready to be married, you know. So it's knowing that I'm in a place to be married. I'm actually in a place to be somebody's husband. I actually am in a place that I'm willing to be responsible for a family, to give my life for my family, you know. So starting with the foundation, and then I would just say this, that marriage is the most unique relationship we have. It's the most intentional relationship that you have. A parent and child. I mean, yes, you intend to have child. Sometimes it happens whether you intend it. It's really God's intent. But your parent loves you because they're your parent. You love your parent because they're your parent. No matter what you do, they'll always be your parent, even if you're strange. Even no matter what happens, your sibling is still your sibling, even if you don't get along. No matter what, those relationships are there. Marriage is intentional because you have to choose to be with the person and you have to choose to stay with the person. And so that's
Mhm.
something that starts in the beginning. I'm choosing to be vulnerable. I'm choosing to build this life with you. But then I just don't leave it there. I'm choosing to grow every day. And that's that work Andre was talking about. It's work. I have to keep choosing you and keep choosing you. I have to keep choosing. I have to choose you beyond my own preconceived notions. I have to choose you beyond society and what society wants. I have to constantly choose you. So you have to be intentional. I have to intentionally listen. I have to intentionally love. I have to intentionally seek to know who you really are. And so when you're building with an intention to spend your life with someone to build this, it's a beautiful thing. You understand the work that goes into it, and you embrace the work, you embrace the difficulty, because there are always setbacks, there are always challenges, but you embrace all of that and you move forward just piece by piece, and you don't rush it. Piece by piece, you grow into something wonderful. That's my two
Good
cents.
to go. Good to go. Good to go. Well,
I agree with
gentlemen,
Andre Taylor. It should
yeah,
be part
exactly.
two.
Yeah,
Facts.
let's get that part
Facts.
too.
They got it. They got to remember that part. Well, gentlemen, this has definitely been enlightening. We definitely got to do a part two of this. I greatly appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate y'all sacrificing your Saturday mornings to help me out. Greatly appreciate it. And you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? As always, it's a pleasure, guys. It's a pleasure. And thank you so much. Thank you. Like I said, thank you guys so much. Y'all guys really helped the old guy out. And
yes, sir.
also, thank you, Lydia, for having me go ahead and be this host for this one, because I was like, look, kind of out of my comfort zone, but also,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I like to talk. I like to talk. So we good. We good. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, Lions Den. Thank you for having me.